Hello, viewers. Welcome back to this channel and happy Holi to all of you. May this festival of color bring immense joy, happiness, and color in your life. And I hope you are enjoying this day. And in this video, I will discuss and try to talk about an African English novel called Things Fall Apart, written by Chinua Achebe. And this is a debut novel by Nigerian author Chinua Achebe, and it was first published in 1958, and it is considered as post-colonial literary creation, or we can say post-colonial novel, and it also depicts both pre-colonial and post-colonial life in the southeastern part of Nigeria and the invasion made by Europeans during the late century through Christian missionaries. And this novel also delineates the struggle between change and tradition. This is a story about a culture on the verge of change, and it also deals with how the prospect and reality of change affect various characters in this novel, and the tension about whether change should be privileged over tradition often involves questions of personal status. In addition to it, this novel also depicts how African culture, African belief, African way of life, their their condition in the pre-colonial period was. These all things are poignantly told through the various events and characters and the plot of this novel by the Chinua Achebe. And this novel is also an attempt to portray the cultural heritage, the cultural influence and the cultural richness of African community, and how that particular African tribe tries to fight for their survival, and how they were transformed into Christianity with time, and how some of their tribesmen were not able to do it. These all things are limned in this novel. Okay, and now let's try to know a little bit about the summary of the novel. The novel, it chronicles the life of Okonko. Okonko is the protagonist of this novel, and he is also a kind of tragic hero, and he is the leader of an Igbo community. Igbo tribe or Igbo community is a well-known tribe of Nigeria, and they are known for their fierce uh, warriorship. Okay, and before moving on, let's see how Igbo community looks like. This is Igbo community family. Okay, and Okonko, who is the hero of this novel, he too belongs from this uh, community, and this is the picture of we can say warriors of Igbo community, and Okonko was too from them, and this is children of Igbo tribe. Okay, and this is our writer Chinua Achebe when he was in his younger days. Okay, so we were talking about Okonko, and Okonko was the champion of his tribe. Means he is known for his means physical strength. He is known for his wrestling talent, and he is also known for his means advocating masculinity. Okay, and for accidentally killing his own clansman, he was banished from his own community for years, and he was in exile for 7 years. And when he returned from his exile, he got to know that his culture, his village were utterly overhauled. It was utterly transformed by the British or by the missionaries. And this novel also describes the simultaneous disintegration of the protagonist Okonko and his village. And Okonko's father was not like him. Okonko's father was only interested. He was only lost in music, and he had no family responsibility. He had never done anything that is remarkable in his life, and he means Okonko has always hated his father for his inability to do something for his tribesmen or for his society or for the family itself. And through this novel, Chinua Achebe has tried to depict not only the good side or the bright side of Igbo culture, but he has also tried to depict the some means we can say dark side of the society, and how it ends up at the hand of British through means for their own weakness, for their own darkness. Got it? Okay. Moreover, the novel follows the life of Okonko. This I have already told you, and he belongs to an Igbo community. In the novel, Igbo is written, and he is a man who is known for his wrestling championship, and he is from the fictional Nigerian clan of Umofia. The name is little bit hard to pronounce. And the work is split into three parts, with the first descending his family, personal history, and the customs and society of the Igbo community or tribe, and the second and the third sections introducing the influence of European colonialism and Christian missionaries on Okonko and his family and the wider Igbo community in the Nigeria. Okay, this I have already show you. Now I would like to. Okay, now let's try to know about the part one of the novel. In the part one of the novel, things fall apart. The novel's protagonist Okonko is famous in the villages of Umofia for being a wrestling champion, and he has defeated a wrestler nicknamed Amalinje the cat, and because he never lands on his back, that's why he is known for this nickname. But he was to defeated by Okonko. So Okonko is a very strong wrestler, and he is known for this fierce strength. And Okonko is strong, hardworking, and strives to show no weakness. And he wants to dispel his father, because I have already told you his father Okonko has tainted legacy of unpaid debts, and he had always neglected his wife and children, and he lived a life full of cowardice. And Okonko, on the other hand, he is completely different from his father. Okonko works to build his own wealth entirely on his own, but Onoka died a shameful death and left many unpaid debts. Got it? And he is means Okonko is also obsessed with his masculinity, and any slight compromise of this is swiftly destroyed. Means he always he believes that man should always be muscular, and he is a man should have strength, and he should have these fighting skills. Okay. And as a result, consequently, he often beats his wives. Means to prove his masculinity, to prove his manhood, he even often beats his wives. Why wives? Because in African culture, or we can say community, in some of their tribes, it is their tradition to have means multiple wives, and Okonko too had more than one wife, and he he beat them to show his means male dominance. And children, he also beats his children too, and is very unkind, and merciless to his neighbors. However, his drive to escape the legacy of his father leads him to be wealthy, courageous, and powerful among the people of his village. And he is a leader of his village. And having attained a position in his society for which he has striven all his life, means he has worked hard to become, means to get a position in his society, and all people of his community respect him for his that quality. This novel also depicts the means the patriarchal theme, means how patriarchy is is there in Igbo community or in African tribes, uh, because as we have already known that in Igbo community a man can have more than one wife. So in that way, the rights of women is not upheld, right? Women have no equal rights. Women are treated as the servant of men, right? So now let's move on. Okonko is selected by the elders to be the guardian of Ikimifuna. Ikimifuna is a boy taken by the clan, means Igbo clan, as a peace settlement between Umofia and another clan after Ikimifuna's father killed an Umufian woman. So there were means clash among their tribe, and the boy he lives with Okonko's family, and Okonko too he too grows very fond of him, and though means Okonko does not show his fondness as not to appear weak, means to not to appear as a weak. He even does not display any kind of kindness emotion to any person. Got it? And that boy looks up to Okonko and considers him as a second father. Got it? Then the oracle of Umofia tribe eventually pronounces that the boy must be killed. Okay, and um, then Iziudu, that was the oldest man of the village, warns Okonko that he should have nothing to do with the murder because it would be like killing his own child. But to avoid seeming weak and feminine to the other men of the village, Okonko has discarded, he has rejected, disregarded the warning from the old man, and he himself killed Ikimifuna. Got it? But that boy has even means begged for his life, but to to show his masculinity and not to appear weak, he has means he has striked, he has means killed that boy, that innocent boy who has done nothing. Got it? So it is also a debatable thing here, and it is also a tragedy. That means why he has killed his this means a innocent child just to prove his masculinity, right? That is also a very means notable thing. But what to do? That's how his personality is. But when, though he has killed Ikimifuna, but Okonko internally, he also feels guilty and he also regretted and he also saddened by it. But what to do? As what is done, it cannot be undone. And for this incident, his family, even his own son, also despised him, hated him. Then, shortly after Ikimifuna's death, things began to go wrong for Okonko. He falls into a great depression as he has been greatly traumatized by the act of murdering his own adopted son. And his sickly daughter Azinma falls unexpectedly ill, and it is feared that she may die. During a gun salute at Ezudu's funeral, Okonko's gun accidentally explodes and it has killed Ezudu's son. Got it? And his family are exiled then to his motherland, the nearby village called Mabanta, and for 7 years to appease the gods he has offended. It also depicts that in some African community or tribe, they still believe in some of their superstition, or we can say blind belief, that is also tried to shown by the author himself. And in the part two of the novel, while Akanko is away in Mabanta, he learns that white men are living in Umofia. Got it? With the intent of introducing their religion called Christianity. And as the number of converts increases, the foothold of the white people grows, and a new government school is established there. And the village folks is forced to respond with either appeasement or resistance to the imposition of the white people's nascent society. Got it? Moreover, Okonko's son Noe, Nwoye, Noe, he starts getting curious about the missionaries, this new religion. And after he is beaten by his father Okonko for the last time, he has made up his mind to leave his family behind and live in freedom, live in independently. Then he wants to be with missionaries because his beliefs have changed while being introduced, or while being in touch with to Christianity by Mr. Brown. And in the last year of his exile, Okonko instructs his best friend Obirika to sell all of his yams and hire two men to build him two huts so he can have a house to go back to with his family. And he also holds a great feast for his mother's kinsman, or we can say relatives, where an elderly attendee bemoans the current state of their tribe and its future. Means some older people of their tribe were not very glad. They were not very ecstatic to know that their old traditional religion, their culture, way of life are being replaced by this new Christianism. Got it? And in the part three of the novel, Okonko, he has returned from exile or banishment, and Okonko then he has found out that his village is downrightly changed by the presence of the white man. And after a convert commits an evil act by unmasking an elder as he embodies an ancestral spirit of the clan, the village retaliates by destroying a local Christian church. Okay, though they have tried to convert themselves into Christianity, but still uh, internally they were still very near and dear to their old roots. This shows, that's why they have, in retaliation, they have destroyed a local Christian church. And in response, the district commissioner representing the colonial government taxed Okonko and several other native leaders prisoner pending payment of a fine of 200 bags of cowries. Then, despite the district commissioner's instructions to treat the leaders of Umofia with respect, the native court messenger humiliate them. So doing things such as shaving their heads and whipping them. As a result, consequently, the people of Umofia, they finally gather for what could be a great uprising, or we can say revolt. Then Okonko, a warrior by nature and adamant about following Umofian custom and tradition, he despises any form of cowardice and advocates war against this white man. Got it? And then when messengers of the white government try to prevent the meeting, Okongo then he has beheaded one of them. Got it? Because he, as we all know, he was very means fierce, muscular man. He always tries to follow the rules and customs of his tribe. So if he does not resist or revolt, then that will be against his custom. So he has done this. Because the crowd allows the other messenger to escape and does not fight alongside Okonko, he realizes with despair that the people of Umofia are now no longer ready to fight to protect themselves. His society's response to such a conflict, which for so long had been predictable and dictated by tradition, is changing. So this has really disappointed and saddened Okonko that his own tribe is now no more with him. His own tribe is now utterly changed. They are not following their own rules and traditions and customs. So he was very means despondent. And what happens? Okay, then the district commissioner Gregory Irwin, then he comes to Okonko's house to take him to the court. Then he finds that Okonko has hanged himself to avoid being tried in colonial court. So he was a very means what you call it. He is a very means self dig one who has a self dignity. Out of self dignity, I mean, he has means hanged himself. He has committed suicide because he tried to avoid being tried in a colonial court. Got it? And among his own people, Okonko's actions have tarnished his reputation and status, as it is strictly against the teachings of the Igbo to commit suicide, but still he has done it. And and this was the means downfall or the tragedy of this novel. On the one hand, Okonko has left no stone unturned to preserve and to protect his own tribe's customs, traditions, heritage, and culture. On the other hand, he has before that he has done one mistake, means he has gone against the tradition of his own tribe by committing suicide. So it is a paradox, means why this has happened. This has happened due to means colonial power, or this is also proves that in a particular society, if people are more reserved, if people are more conservative, or if people are more dogmatic, then they have to die, or they have to lose their own identity. These kinds of very complicated things are depicted here. This is my own perspective. You can have your own perspective. So read the book, read the novel, read the criticism works written on it, and read the uh, any works that is utterly related to this novel. Now let's try to know a little bit about some of the themes of this novel. The number one theme is masculinity. Now, masculinity is the novel's most important theme, and as it means a great deal to the novel's protagonist Okonko, and it more motivates many of his actions. And though not the village elder, Okonko is no longer a young man, so his ideas of masculinity comes from a time that is beginning to fade, and much of his view of manhood develops in response to his father, because he has seen that his father is a very weak man, and he was not respected by the village people, and he was lost and trapped in debt. And his father always favored music, chatting, and he was very lazy, and he never done any kind of hard work. On the other hand, Okonko is utterly different from his father, or we can say upside down. And Okonko therefore believes in action and strength. He first came to prominence in the community as an impressive wrestler. When he began a family, he focused on toiling away in the field rather than idling with acquaintances, actions that reflected his attitude that agriculture is masculine and talking is feminine. That was his belief system. So this is one of the major themes of the novel. And Okonko's son Noe, he stands in contrast to his father. He was not like his father, and he too. This is now irony that Okonko did not like his father. Now Okonko's own son, Noe, he too does not like his father. For means so for some disagreements, for some reasons. Okonko and his father, they were never in good terms. So uh, just like that, Okonko and Noe, they were too not in a very good terms. Noe is not particularly powerful physically, and he is more drawn to his mother's stories rather than to his father's fields. And this greatly worries Okonko, who fears that even from a young age his son is too feminine. Nuoe then eventually joins the new Christian church that the Europeans established in the village, which his father views as the ultimate rebuke of his people and considers himself cursed to have had son like Nuoe. Got it? And in the end, Okonko's inability to handle the changing nature of his society in the wake of the arrival of Europeans lead to his loss of his own masculinity. Got it? And as rejection of his village decision not to fight the colonialists, this also disappoints Okonko, so he finally hangs himself from a tree. And it is an abominable and feminine act according to the people of Igbo. So it prevent him from being buried with his people, and function it also functioned as an important symbol of the way European colonization separated and feminized the African continent. Got it? Means how a foreign or alien culture has come to an African culture, and how they have tried to influence and try to exploit that very culture through power, through various ways or religion. Another important theme is agriculture. In Okonko's view, agriculture is related to masculinity, and it is also of great importance in the village of Umuofia. And this is still a very agrarian society, so naturally great importance is placed on the growing of food, and those who are not able to do so, like Okonko's father, are looked down upon by the society or in the society or in the community. Additionally, seeds for growing yams, their yams cultivation is done mostly, which are mostly prominent crop, and are a form of currency, as the bestowing of them indicates a respect for and investment in the receiver. For example, Okongo does not receive any seeds from his father, who dies with nothing, and as such, he is given several hundred seeds by various members of the community, and this is done for practical reasons, so that Okonko can grow crops, but it is also as a symbolic act to indicate that the people of the village still admire him despite his bad luck and hardship from his family or from his father's side. And therefore, when Okanko begins to notice that his son does not have much of an aptitude or interest in farming, he worries that he is not properly masculine. In fact, he begins to admire his adopted son, Ikimifuna. This name is little bit hard for me to pronounce, and I might have pronounced incorrectly, and I'm sorry for that. Ikemefuna, he was praised by Akanko, and he was an adopted son, as we have already discussed. And before he ultimately kills Ikemefuna to show that he is masculine. So, yes, to show his masculinity. And with the arrival of the Europeans, the village agricultural tradition comes into conflict with the newcomers' industrial technology, such as the iron horse, or we can say bicycle, which the villagers try to retrieve. The Europeans are able to transform the landscape of the community through their industrial advantage. So the colonization of African represents the power of industry over the agriculture, and the arrival of Europeans marks the beginning of the end of African agricultural society as Okonko understood it and was personified by him. Got it? So it's a tragedy for Okonko that he was not able to cope up with the changing changing phase of his society, his country. Means this also shows that how British or how colonialist powers or how Christianity have utterly transformed the the fundamentals of our African culture. And the last theme of this novel, according to my perspective, this is change. Okay, change is one of the most important, and it is an overarching ideas of the novel, as we have seen in the span of Okonko's life, that much of what he has understood about his society and his ideas on gender and labor in particular, this all undergo substantial change, and much of the book can be understood as a study in changes. Okonko changes his fortune from that of impoverished son to title father, only to be punished into exile. And the Europeans' arrival later in the story, it stirs about a whole host of changes as well, most notably because they initiate a sort of metaphorical feminization of the society as a whole. And this change is so great, it is so humongous, it is so it is so tremendous that Okonko, perhaps the toughest of all the men in the village or in the community, cannot abide by it, and it chooses death by its own hand over life under the colonizer's thumb. It is an act that is, of course, seen as the most feminine of all. Means um, to fight with foreign powers or to fight with foreign culture or foreign way of life, he has to go against his own culture's norms, and he was ready for it, to go against these colonizers. And there are not more we can say. Now let's talk little bit about some of the characters of the novel. Okay, Okonko we have already discussed. Okonko is the protagonist of the novel. He has three wives and total 10 children, and he becomes a leader of his clan. His father, Anoka, he was a very weak and lazy person, and Okonko resents him for his weaknesses, and he enacts traditional masculinity. And Okonko strives to make his way of a culture that traditionally values manliness. Then we have second character called Igwifi. Igwifi is Okonko's second wife. Although she falls in love with Okonko after seeing him in a wrestling match, she marries another man because Okonko is too poor to pay her bride price at that time. So this is their cultural, or we can say, custom to pay bride price. So 2 years later, she runs away to Okonko's compound one night and later marries him. Then she receives severe beatings from Okonko, just like his other wives, but unlike them, she is known to talk back to Okonko. Then we have another character, third character, Unoka. Unoka we have already discussed. Unoka is Okonko's father and who defied typical Igbo masculinity by neglecting to grow yams and to take care of his wives and children and pay his debts before he dies. Then we have fourth character, Noi. Noi is Okonko's own son, about whom Okonko's worries too much, and fearing that he fears that he will become like Unoka, like his grandfather. Similar to Unoka, Noi does not subscribe to the traditional Igbo view of masculinity being equated to violence. Rather, he prefers to stories of his mother. And Noi connects to Ikimifuna, who presents an alternative to Okanko's rigid masculinity, and he is one of the early converts to Christianity that we have already talked. And it takes on the Christian name, means he has taken a Christian name, hijacked an act which Okonko views as a final betrayal to his means motherland, or his to the tribe where he born, that he has gone against that culture or that tribe. Then we have Ikimifuna. Ikimifuna is a boy from the Mabino tribe. Mabino, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing correct or not. If I am wrong, then you should verify from the Google. Mabino tribe, and his father murders his wife of an Umofia man, and in the resulting settlement of the matter, Ikimifuma is put into the care of Okonko, and by the decision of Umofia authorities, Ikimifuna is ultimately killed, which is an act which Okonko does not prevent and even participates in, lest he seems feminine and weak. So when he killed Ikemifuna, his means son-like figure, or his adopted son, when he killed him to show his masculinity, or to show his means that he is not weak. So yeah, on the other hand, this act is also, it is a symbol that actually this is a feminine work to kill a child, to kill an innocent child, but he has done it, so that's the thing. So that's the conflict, that's the thing the writer has tried to depict through this novel. And Ikemefuna became very close to Noe, and Okonko's decision to participate in Ikemefuna's death, it takes a toll on Okonko's relationship with his own son Noe. Then we have another character, Azinma. Ejinma is Okonko's favorite daughter and the only child of his first wife, Ikwifi. Ejinma, the crystal beauty, is very much the antithesis of a normal woman within the culture, and Okonko routinely remarks that she would have made a much better boy than a girl, even wishing that she had been born as boy. Azinma often contradicts and challenges her father, which wins his adoration, affection, and respect. And she is very similar to her father, and this is made apparent that when she matures into a beautiful young woman who refuses to marry during her family's exile, instead choosing to help her father regain his place of respect within the society. So Azinma is a very brave and very resolute daughter of Okonko. Then we have another characters, and Overika. Overika is Okonko's best friend from Umofia. Unlike Okonko, Overika thinks before he acts and is therefore less violent and arrogant than Okonko. And he is considered the voice of reason in the book, and questions certain parts of their culture, and such as the necessity to exile Okonko after he unintentionally kills a boy. And Oberika's own son Maduka is greatly admired by Okonko for his wrestling prowess. Then we have another character, Ogbufi Ejudu. Okay, I might have pronounced it very weirdly. I'm sorry for that because this name is very tough. Ogbufi Ejudu is one of the elders of Umufia clan or tribe, or we can say the community. And there is Mr. Brown. He is an English missionary who comes to Umofia, and he shows kindness and compassion towards the villagers. and he makes some effort to understand the Igbo beliefs. And there is Mr. Smith. He is an another English missionary who is sent to Umofia to replace Mr. Brown after he falls ill. And in contrast to his predecessor, he remains very strict and jealous towards the Africans. Got it? Okay, now the video is getting longer, but still, now let's talk this last thing, masculinity and femininity. This is also a major theme in this novel. Both we have discussed this, these both elements we have already discussed it, but now we will discuss it together. Okay, masculinity and femininity in the novel, things fall apart. So the gender roles of men and women, as well as society's conceptions of the associated concepts, are frequent themes in Achebe's writing. That is the fundamental thing. And he has been criticized as a sexist author in response to what many call the uncritical depiction of traditionally patriarchal Igbo society, where the most masculine men take numerous wives and women are beaten regularly. And paradoxically, Igbo society immensely values individual achievement but also sees the ownership over or acquisition of women as a signifier of success. And the African studies scholar Rose Meju. These two I might have pronounced wrong, and I'm sorry for that. You must verify it. And Rose Meju, he has suggested, he or she, that way I don't know. Rose suggested that Achebe is representing the limited gender vision of the character of the characters, or that the purposefully created exaggerated gender binaries to render Igbo history recognizable to international readers. Conversely, the scholar Azoki Mimiko Bestman has stated that reading Achebe through the lens of womanism is an Afrocentric concept forced out of global feminism to analyze the condition of Black African women, which acknowledges the patriarchal oppression of women and highlights the resistance and dignity of African women, which enables an understanding of Igbo conception of gender complementarity. So that's it. The novel is finished. So in this novel, the role of women is very, very low, or we can say very, very negligible. Women are not treated equally here. Women have no rights. Women were under the influence of men, and women have no power in policy making. Women have no power in any cultural or customs in their African tribes. Okay, this work, according to the writer Chinua Achebe, this work is written, or we can say his most of the works is written to depict the means ground reality, or the truth, or the harsh reality of African society or African community, which is not seen in the English novels written on African means what we can say. African means platform, or we can, yeah, African platform means on African subject. So that's it. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and you might have felt that it is monotonous and it is boring, but you have to endure that, because this will ultimately help you. And in this video, most of the points I have tried to include, I have tried to cover, but this is not the absolute thing. You must read the book wholly. You must read another things related to this novel. And thank you so much for watching the video. And if you have uh, enjoyed, then please try, means let me know in the comment box. And bye bye. Bye bye.